So in the Marines, I remember when I got back from Afghan, I really struggled for a long time, or almost a year, trying to work out what was wrong with me. And that's because like all these incidences that we've been through, these really horrible moments that you go through, as you imagine, and actually just the stress and pressure of it. Just not just the incidents, but like the stress and pressure of just being out there. And coming home and everyone, I got blown up, which you know, and that finished my tour a few weeks earlier than intended. But I'd done pretty much the whole tour up to that point. And so I got home a bit earlier than everyone else, and I had to go through my rehab, and it wasn't that bad because there was a couple of cuts and bruises, but that was about it. I remember being in the accommodation for so long with the other guys, thinking there's nothing wrong with them. They just seemed to be like laughing it off, not laughing at situations, sorry, but laughing it off. You just crack on. They seemed determined. They seemed courageous. It just didn't seem to bother them at all. And I remember like each day would go by and thinking, is there something wrong with me? And like that whole being a Marine, I'm weak. You know, everyone else is strong. I'm weak. I'm falling apart here. Then I think it was like a year later when I was just sort of still in the down and dumps, and not a down and dumps for the whole year, but a down in the dumps up until that point, up and down. Getting to that point where I was like, this just does not seem to be affecting anyone else but me, and then having a conversation with someone. Like it got to that snapping point where you go, I need to chat. I need to have a word with someone. And it was one of the other Marines who'd been there the whole time. I was like, I feel like I can't hack this. In my head, I feel like I'm going around in circles. Like I can't deal with the situations that happen. And he was like, this is one of the strongest people I've seen. Like who didn't seem to be bothered by it. He went, yeah, I have that every day. And it was like, what'd you go through? And then we just started talking about our emotions and our mood, exactly what we're trying to encourage with looping. The emotions, the mood, I feel this on this day, sometimes I feel up, sometimes I feel down. I look around, no one seems to be that bothered by it, they're just cracking on. And then he started talking about it, and then someone else comes into the conversation, 2-3 days later, and we talk a bit more openly about it. And all of a sudden you realise that everyone has this way of thinking that just keep it in it. Just look like you can crack on. And in the Marines, it's actually a really dangerous place to do that. You need to be open, you need to have a speak up culture. And obviously in an environment where rank and hierarchy is present, speak up doesn't mean, I don't agree, we should not go into that area today, boss. It's like, shut up, you're going into that area. But the speak up culture is, I feel really fatigued in the head right now. Does anyone else feel really fatigued in the head? Because actually what you want is a group of Marines who are thinking straight, not fatigued, they're feeling good, so they can go and do their job effectively. And actually, it's that way of thinking we want to encourage into organisations to think like, is in an alpha male, red-blooded world, which the Marines is it doesn't feel right to put your hand up, but actually it was far more fulfilling and positive putting your hand up and saying, I don't think this is right, and then finding out someone else feels the same way, and then finding out, and actually you have a community you can discuss with as opposed to hide from, and that discussion opens up a unique bond where you are closer, you're tighter, you trust each other more. This is what we're looking at, trust. How do you open up, how do you be more trusting in people? And that's what we really want to almost compel people to do in any organisation, is who are those individuals around you that you can say, I'm getting frustrated with this.
By sharing and speaking up, we can't promise always to have a solution. Sometimes it's just validation and recognition. So companies that might be thinking about looping and thinking a little bit nervously on it, am I going to be expected to change our mission? Am I going to be expected to change the tasks I give my employees? It's like, no, not always, and not if you don't want to. Just recognising, validating and being empathetic is enough sometimes. And that's what the Marines need, because like you just said, you can't change the operation based on the feelings of one person. But what you can do is say, I can understand why you're feeling that way, I feel the same. Let's work through this mission, let's work through this next step together. Don't panic. We're not saying that you need to change your business, we're not saying that you need to action off every single emotion that comes through. We're just saying that recognition, empathy and understanding is the start. And if there is an action from it that can better your people, then yeah, we recommend taking it.
And final point, what a place to work.
Yeah.
Where it's,
I should say,
I can go to work and I know if there's something wrong, I'm in a secure area, that someone will be like, I've heard you. That's all it is.
Yeah.
I've heard you.
We expect
We can
that,
do
don't
something
we?
we can do something about this, or you can choose not to. I've heard you, and that feeling of they listen here. What a great place to work.
I agree.